Thank you, Dan. Good evening once again. It says much about West Brom's early season form that a Christmas slump hasn't been enough to dislodge them from the top two, but they know that can't continue. And while Stoke have been better under Michael O'Neill, it says plenty about their awful start to the season, that relegation is still an ever-present threat, which makes this game such a key one at both ends of the Sky Bet Championship. A reminder of the teams once again: two changes for West Brom. Semi Ajayi's ever-present run in the West Brom back four comes to an end. He's on the bench. Ahmed Hegazi is recalled, and Grady Diangana is back. He hasn't played since West Brom's last win at Birmingham on the 14th of December. Kenneth Sahor is the player who makes way. So it's Johnston in goal, Furlong, Hegazi, Bartley and Townsend the back four, Livermore and Sawyers screening in midfield, with Phillips, Diangana and Pereira behind Robson Kanu. One change for Stoke. They endured a pretty grim goalless draw against Millwall, of course. Their former manager Gary Rowett now in charge there last week. Tom Vokes drops out of that starting lineup, and it's Tom Ince who returns. So it's Butland in goal, Smith, Bart, Lindsay and Martin Zindi the back four. Ince and McLean will be in the wide areas. Allen, Powell and Klukas at the heart of midfield, with Campbell in attack, and there's plenty of responsibility on the shoulders of the young former England youth international. But that could be a key battle here tonight, Matt Murray. Tyrese Campbell does possess pace, Ahmed Hegazi doesn't. Yeah, so the pace of Campbell if the balls are slipped down the side, but what they'll have to do is they'll have to get Powell up. You can't isolate Campbell too much. That will be the big thing. So if the balls are played into him, they need to know that he does have support. He can also drift into wide areas, so they'll be looking for a bit of rotation as well. But I certainly think that, I think Hegazi is a very, very good player, but that is one of the things that he won't like, being maybe dragged into wide areas or balls slip down the side of him. So I'm sure that they will try and counter attack with real pace, and they have got qualities in their side, Stoke City, and that game plan could certainly work for them. And Stoke do have a new signing on the bench, Jordan Thompson, well known to Michael O'Neill, a Northern Ireland international signed from Blackpool. And there have been plenty of outgoings on loan during the transfer window so far as well. Badu and Dye, Ryan Woods and Peter Atebo all leaving on a temporary basis from the Bet365, and they cost a combined £26 million, which does give you an indication of the issues that Michael O'Neill has to deal with. A bloated squad, an expensive squad, and he wants new blood to try and ensure that Stoke City will be able to rebuild fully in the Championship next season. West Brom have eyes firmly fixed on the Premier League. If they win here tonight, they will be 8 points clear of third place. And it's Stoke who will get the game underway here on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. The Potters in all black with grey sleeves, attacking the goal away to our left-hand side in the first half. West Brom in their home strip of blue and white stripes, white shorts and hoop socks. And Albion are defending the Birmingham Road end away to our left in the opening 45 minutes. As we sit here in our gantry, slung under the roof of the main stand here at the Hawthorns, right on top of the action as Stoke look to build here with Campbell, lobbed over the top. Ince makes the run into the area, but it's shepherded back by Hegazi into the arms of Sam Johnston, wearing all pink, defending that West Brom goal away to our left. He plays it forward quickly, but Stoke win it back. Here is McLean, the former West Brom player. Wide to Powell down the left, into the area for Campbell at the near post, just unable to turn and fire a shot towards goal, but scrambling in to make the challenge was Hegazi, and Stoke have the game's first corner.
Yeah, really good start from Stoke, and a lovely little ball fed in there into Campbell, but Hegazi did well. He's just, you say, sort of just about did enough to force it behind, but this will be a set piece now that West Brom are good at scoring them, but they're also very susceptible there defensively.
They do have that soft centre, despite all the goals at the other end. McLean's delivery into the near post, headed away by Pereira. And it's brought down by the former Dutch international, Bruno Martin Zindi. One of a number of players in the Stoke squad who didn't really believe he'd be playing in the Championship when he arrived in the Potteries. And there's a player down right in the centre circle, And it's Grady Diangana, 90 seconds played into his comeback, and already he's in trouble.
Well, that will be a concern for West Brom, because all the talk has been about how much they've missed him. You know, they've not won without him since that Birmingham City game, and I can't think of an incident that he's felt anything. So he's done all the warm-up. Obviously he's been in training, he's done the warm-up, he's come in, and then he's sat down and no one around him, which would concern you. So that'll be a big blow. But listen, it's very interesting what you said about players like Martins Indi signing for Stoke, who's signed for Premier League football. I think Huddersfield had that problem as well. You know, so a lot of their players weren't prepared to really come down to the
West Brom seem to have, they went down, but they adapted. They had that transition, and okay, they didn't go up last season, but they weren't embarrassed like Stoke were.
Yeah, a lot of their players, you know, went right to the wire, didn't they, in the playoffs, and same with some of the Aston Villa players that they kept who came down. But yeah, these Stoke players aren't up for it, but he's not moving well at all.
Diangana is coming off. What a blow for West Brom right at the start of this game. He went down with less than 2 minutes played, and Diangana is almost in tears as he hobbles off towards this near side. A month out of the team, and it's Kenneth Sahor who will come on to replace him. And if that was a gamble, it's not worked.
Yeah, Kenneth Sahor coming on, and so obviously he won't have had much of a warm-up, because he wouldn't have expected to come on so early. But now it looks, obviously he's the one who missed out to allow Diangana to come back into the side, but that he was not moving well at all there, and it's a real blow for West Brom. So
it was the hamstring that went against Birmingham, but it was difficult to see what the problem was there, because he was nowhere near the action when he went down.
Yeah, very strange. So hopefully it isn't as serious as it looks. A player who's had injuries, I hope he's okay, because you say he looked really emotional there, didn't he? He'd really been desperate to get back and get his own career playing again. He loved it, but also he knows that where the position West Brom are in, and he can really help them cement that place at the top of the division.
And they have missed him, as you rightly say. 4 points in 5 games since he was injured, and that included a home defeat here against Middlesbrough, the first home defeat of the season. West Brom 6 wins, 6 draws, and that single loss at home, and they have scored 30 times in 13 games, but also they've conceded 20. You always get a chance here.
You do get a chance, and a lot of them are self-inflicted, playing out from the back. But I watched them against Barnsley, and they conceded a late goal, but I tell you what, Barnsley were excellent, Johnson was excellent, and they really struggled to create after scoring an early goal.
Now Phillips on this near side, lovely change of direction from him. He scored the opening goal early on at Stoke, and he plays it into the area for Furlong, square towards Pereira, who was falling backwards as he struck the shot around the penalty spot, and as a result he drags it wide. Yeah,
that was good play, good link-up play, lovely little bits of movement, and the ball from Furlong there into Pereira, but he was just falling backwards, as you're saying, didn't really catch it properly, because if he had got a good connection, I think he could have squeezed it in that bottom corner. So it's quite a lively start to this game, with Stoke forcing the early corner. Obviously the injury is a real blow to Diangana, who didn't want to see that, because he's such an entertaining player in this division, but that there for West Brom was a lot better, and a player of his quality, I think he'll feel he could have done a bit better there.
Well, Diangana has been scintillating at times this season, along with Pereira, and their form was one of the main reasons West Brom looked unbeatable in the opening third of the season at least. Here is Phillips again, now popping up down the left-hand side, looking to take on Smith for pace, but Smith does well. Tracked him stride for stride and just slides in to concede a throw-in on the far side. 5 minutes played on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. It's West Brom 0, Stoke 0, the top and bottom of the table. West Brom at the top 53, Leeds 52 into the playoffs. Fulham 48, Brentford 47, Forest 47 and Swansea 45, as the throw-in for West Brom comes to nothing. It's cleared long downfield by Stoke, looking for the pace of Campbell, but Bartley gets there first and finds Sam Johnston. At the bottom, reading upwards, Luton 21, Wigan 23, Barnsley 24, Stoke 25, Huddersfield and Charlton 29. Now Hegazi finding Bartley, so a win for Stoke tonight, and they would be 4 points clear of the relegation zone. And West Brom looking to extend their advantage over Fulham to 8 points. They were 12 points clear of third place on Boxing Day, but the Championship is relentless and brutal at times, and if you don't get the results, you will very quickly lose the advantage you've gained.
And do you think that injury to Diangana as well will maybe Slaven Bilic will be speaking to Luke Down and saying we need to get in that market, we need to go and get more attacking players into the team?
Well, they've got Kyle Edwards, but he's not of Diangana's quality, a different sort of player who could play down the left-hand side. Of course, they brought in Charlie Austin, but he's done much of his best work off the bench. And Zahor, they paid decent money for him, but he's been really trusted by Bilic.
Yeah, so we talked about Jarrod Bowen. Yeah, well, we talked about Jarrod Bowen, and I think he'd be an investment. I think Gray would be a different sort of player that we talked about as well, being linked to sides. So I don't know, I just think that the way he walked off there, the fact he's been out for so long and he's walked off like that could force West Brom's hand.
Because you always say it's not a great time to recruit in January, but Sheffield United's recruitment was spot on last January. They got promoted. West Brom, I know they lost Harvey Barnes, he went back to Leicester, that was a massive blow, but the players they brought in didn't really have an impact.
No, they didn't get him over the line, whereas Medine came in, was it Dowell, players like that.
Look at Villa getting Mings in as well.
Yeah, so there's certain players that definitely you come in, you look at the little spots that, a couple of positions that are really but they have to come in and be starters and have an impact. So, but it's interesting here seeing Stoke 4-4-2, sliding, screening and trying to frustrate West Brom.
8 minutes played, 0-0. Livermore plays it forward, cut out by Martin Zindi. Quickly on to Powell inside the centre circle. Over the top, looking for Ince. He's got Campbell in the centre, and Ince goes beyond to Ghazi. Into the box, finding Campbell, and Campbell has scored. Tyrese Campbell with the opening goal for Stoke City. And the pace of Campbell and Ince catching out West Bromwich Albion right down the centre. Ajayi was left out, Higazi brought in. It was Higazi's error, and Stoke City have made Albion pay.
Everything you said that Stoke was set up to do, they have just gone and executed to perfection. They're sliding. We thought it might be a 4-5-1. It looks more of a 4-4-2, but they're sliding, and they pick the right moment. Ball in down the side of Higazi that you said lacks pace. It's Ince who's onto it. Higazi should still clear that. He hits it off Ince, but Ince then has the composure, the coolness to just roll the ball across to Tyrese Campbell. It wasn't the cleanest of connections. Johnston gets a hand to it, can't keep it out, and now they've had the blow of losing Diangana, but also they're behind. But fantastic counter-attacking play from Stoke City.
Tyrese Campbell's 5th goal of the season, son of Kevin, of course. He had an outstanding record in the Premier League for so many clubs, and Tyrese Campbell, at only 20 years of age, out of contract at the end of the season, he could be the sort of player to maybe make that step up.
Or abroad. That's what they seem to do, isn't it? Move abroad.
Trabzonspor, didn't he, during his career, went abroad as well. So, but it's the Stoke fans booming out Delilah behind the goal away to our right-hand side, and they have filled their allocation, a relatively short journey down the M6 on a Monday evening, and they lead here by a 0-0. And yet again, West Bromwich Albion have failed to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, and with Barnsley playing tomorrow night, I think Charlton are playing as well. And
Charlton play Fulham,
yeah. So Stoke will know this is again a really, really good opportunity, because I think Barnsley are quite resurgent, but the way that Stoke City have started this game, I thought they came out of the traps pretty quickly. Then there's a little glimpse for West Brom, but all in all, Stoke, they can see what they're trying to do. You can see a clear game plan that Mike O'Neill set his side up with.
Stoke lead by a 0-0 with nearly 11 minutes played here on Talk Sport 2. Tomorrow night we are round the grounds on kick-off with Hugh Wozencroft, and on Wednesday as well, focusing on 2 big nights in the Premier League. Here on Talk Sport 2 there's commentary from the Leasing.com Trophy. The holders Portsmouth meeting Scunthorpe in the quarter-finals. Then on Thursday night, FA Cup third round replay action from Prenton Park, Tranmere against Watford, the winners at home to Manchester United on Sunday. And then on Friday we are in League One, resurgent Sunderland at home to Doncaster. Full commentary from the Stadium of Light with Mark Wilson and Greg Abbott. Now Sawyers on the edge of his own penalty area, pressed by Powell, but he works his way out of trouble. Pereira back towards Higazi, and look, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but there'll be Albion fans all around the stadium saying Hegazi.
The thing is, he has so many qualities, but I think that when you're playing against a pacey front line, that'll be the weakness that exposes him the most. And Ajayi's athleticism, the way he recovers.
Ajayi didn't have a good game against Charlton, but
all in, he's had a good season though, hasn't he? So it's harsh. So it's a But look, Slaven Bilic sees him in training. He looks at things, wanted to freshen it up, but when things work, brilliant. This one hasn't worked so far.
A long diagonal ball towards this near side, looking for Phillips, is cut out by Martin Zindi, and here is McLean finding Powell, who does have the ability to drop off into those pockets of space just behind Tyrese Campbell. And Ince did really well in the build-up to that goal to cut him from the right-hand side, and in fairness to Hegazi, he was exposed 2-1.
He was, but he got there, didn't he? It looked like he cleared it off Ince. I think he should have dealt with it better, but then still credit Ince, the way he chased it down, because he's a good player, Thomas Ince, but I don't think he's really hit the heights that he should have at Stoke City. He showed glimpses of it, but he did well there, and then the composure just to roll it across for a first-time finish was excellent.
Well, West Brom have gained 21 points from losing positions so far this season. They've now conceded the first goal on 14 different occasions, and Stoke fans who have made the journey tonight will also be aware that they led in defeats they recently had away from home against Middlesbrough and Hull City, as the ball has slid down the side for Phillips inside the penalty area down the left, but he's flagged offside.
Yeah, so the way Pereira drove with the ball there, I think it might have been Zahor actually that he'd gone offside, but the way that Pereira drove with it, he should have held and gone, and timed the run. But that's what Pereira's really good at, when he drives at players and then looks to slip them in. So how do you think Pereira's, is that have West Brom gone to a 4-4-2 there, or
maybe
Kanu's going to drop?
4-2-3-1?
Yeah, Kanu's going to drop it. Yeah,
in the hole.
Yeah, in the hole. Yeah. Just looking there when they're locking onto So I think Robson Kanu is the best through the middle. It's a real blow, that, because I just think the balance of that front line is going to affect them, but they've got to deal with it. This is football, isn't it? Mitrovic is injured for Fulham, and Diangana's a big miss for West Brom.
Matt Murray and Nigel Adderley talking you through the action here at the Hawthorns on TalkSport 2. 14 minutes played, Stoke City leading by a 1-0, and if you've just joined us already, Grady Diangana has gone off injured on his comeback for West Brom, and Tyrese Campbell has given Stoke the lead. Phillips finding Robson Kanu on the edge of the area, wide towards this near side, and Furlong. McLean slides in with a challenge, thinks the ball has gone behind, but a corner's been given to West Brom.
Yeah, good tracking back from McLean, because of course he wants to get forward and put crosses in, but he's got to be good going back the other way, and he's tracked the full back all the way there, and it did come off him last. But West Brom has said they're susceptible defensively, but they've got some real height there. Quality will go in, and they'll be looking to draw level here.
Pereira with the corner, an in-swinger towards that near post, and it's met by Klukas, but it's recovered on the right corner of the penalty area by Phillips. Lofted high, looking for Hegazi, who wins the header, but it's looped high into the air and cleared away by Martin Zindi. But now Stoke almost give the ball away, but McLean does well to win it back from Pereira, and under pressure from Phillips, no messing, just hoofs it into the crowd.
Yeah, good defending again from McLean. He played left back a bit earlier in the season, and you can see why he's also quite comfortable in those positions.
Martin Zindi now looks to play the ball in behind, looking for Campbell, but it's cut out by Bartley for West Brom. And they look to build now on the far side with Connor Townsend. Nathan Ferguson working his way back to full fitness and could be back in the West Brom team soon. Now Furlong's given the ball away. It was a pass behind Livermore, as Livermore slid in to prevent the early ball forward, again looking for Campbell, but you can hear one or two grumbles from the home supporters here with 16 minutes played on TalkSport 2 and Stoke City leading by 1-0.
Yeah, they're getting frustrated, but like you said, they'll be used to seeing their side concede the first goal and go behind, so they've got to stay patient, they've got to stay with the process. But the groans are there because, again, unforced error. Livermore is a very good player, just on a different wavelength to Matt Phillips, and plays the ball out of play. For Stoke City, they need points in a relegation battle, and it's very clear that they've come here, they're going to slide, organise, frustrate, and pick the right moment to go, and then counter-attack with real pace and purpose. A
high ball forward again. Hegazi gets there before Campbell. And now it's gathered by Joe Allen, pings it across the field, but it's blocked by the head of Dean Garner. But Allen is able to recover on this near side. And now Ince gathers for Stoke down their right, and it's slid all the way back by Smith towards Jack Butland, who's not had a huge amount to do so far in the game.
Just a couple of clearances for him, but he's going to have to keep his concentration, because there will be a time that he's definitely called upon.
And a free kick's been given, a challenge by Clucas on Robson Kanu, just inside the Stoke half, and it's a free kick for West Bromwich Albion, which Sawyers takes. And we spoke much about Sawyers pre-match, Matt, but at the moment the game is passing him by.
He hasn't been able to get on the ball and dictate the play like he wants to, but I think you have to credit Stoke for that, the way they've been organised, and they've stopped him getting on it, pressed him there. Pereira gets on it, pressed straight away. They get into a certain area and they're pressed.
Now Furlong won't keep a long raking ball in play on this near side, and it will be a throw-in for Stoke City. And those supporters away to our right have had a pretty dismal 18 months to endure, but they are right behind their team at the moment. West Brom trailing by a 1-0, and Stoke City good value for it.
Yeah, they're really good, and that's coaching, looking at your team, putting players in the right positions, organising, going with a game plan, watching. They've had a bit of time to prepare for this. You know what West Brom are going to do. They don't change today. That's what they do. They build from the back. They're playing this 4-2-3-1, and it's been a tough time for Stoke fans, but their team tonight so far have been really, really good.
18 minutes played, West Brom 0, Stoke 1, and we were both at the game at the Bet365 back in November when Stoke City were in absolute shambles. They lost by 2-0. Michael O'Neill took over following that game. They were 6 points adrift of safety. If they win tonight, they will be 4 points clear of the bottom three. 5 wins, 2 draws and 5 defeats so far, which is not sensational form in normal circumstances, but has been pretty good considering the low bar which Michael O'Neill inherited.
Yeah, and that night did they play a 3-5-2? Do I remember?
No, they get mattered.
Yeah, they just started with a totally different formation that we've been used to seeing. There have been lots and lots of changes. I then watched his game at Barnsley, and he changed it straight back to a back 4, and he put Ward in at left back, put Klein higher up, and look, it's small steps, but you can definitely see an improvement.
And they've had some very poor performances as McLean is flagged offside for Stoke on this near side. I was at Middlesbrough before Christmas when they took the lead and lost 2-1 and were abysmal. But clearly he's getting something out of them. They've scored 4 at Barnsley, 5 at Huddersfield, and are doing damage to the teams around them, which is what they need to do.
Well, that is massive when you take points off teams off the teams around you, but then when you come to the top of the league, and if they do come away something tonight, and Barnsley and Charlton and teams like that will be looking, thinking, oh, they were bonus points for you guys. You didn't expect that. And also because sometimes against teams like this, your goal difference can take a hammering. But here we go again on the counter-attack.
Allen now spreads it wide to the far side, and Smith. As Stoke move forward again, 4 black shirts wait for the cross in the centre. Smith checks back onto his left foot. The cross headed away by Townsend. Then Robson Kanu with a cushioned ball down towards Sawyers, and he's looking for a movement ahead of him. Plays it over the top. Sahor will chase, and Sahor in the end has been flagged offside as he battled with Danny Bart, and it's a free kick again for Stoke City. And to be caught offside in a situation like that is pretty poor.
Yeah, it was poor again. He's gone too early. That's twice now. But I feel you could feel the frustration in the crowd when Sawyer's got the ball. He's driving. He's looking forward, and he didn't see the usual options that you'd expect from a West Brom side. And he ends up playing the ball over the top. But even if he hadn't been offside, I felt he pulled Danny Bart as well. So it could have been a foul for that as well. So yeah, Zahor's twice now in positions where he could make better runs has been flagged offside, but you can definitely hear that frustration from these West Brom supporters.
Well, it's 1-1 in 7, and that was a come from behind victory against Birmingham City for West Brom, and that followed 6 successive wins as Pereira slips and can't gather a layoff from Sahor, and a long ball over the top again looking for Campbell. Campbell's pulled up. I think he's done his hamstring. His right hamstring's gone, and Stoke City's goal scorer is in trouble here. It's a very cold night at the Hawthorns, and he could be the second player to go off with a muscle injury. Campbell's done, I think. He's on the ground. West Brom playing on against 10 men at the moment. And Livermore spots him on the ground. Nick Powell tells them to kick the ball out to play, and West Brom continue, as is their right, before Klukas fouls Pereira. It will be a West Brom free kick midway inside the Stoke half, and Campbell will receive some treatment.
Yeah, Klukas knew what he was doing there, didn't he, bringing him down? But as you say, Diangana, fantastic attacking player. We lost him very early on. Campbell, you saw it straight away. He went to chase that ball over the top and just started reaching, and then looked like he could maybe stretch it out, but the fact he's gone down. But for the Stoke City game plan, what a huge blow this will be.
And we welcome listeners from Talk Sport joining us here on Talk Sport 2. We played 22 minutes. It's West Bromwich Albion 0, Stoke City 1. Tyrese Campbell with a goal in the 10th minute for Stoke City. An error by Ahmed Hegazi. Tom Ince picking up Campbell, who fired the ball in via the right hand of Sam Johnston. Campbell is now down, apparently with a hamstring injury already in the game. Grady Diangana, on his comeback for West Brom following a month out, has also gone off with an injury. Matt Murray, the former Wolverhampton Wanderers goalkeeper, is alongside me, and Campbell's going to come off here, but West Bromwich Albion, as the leaders, have been pretty average.
Yeah, obviously a big blow losing Diangana so early on, and there was all the hype about him coming back because of how pivotal he's been, if you like, to the success getting into the top of the league. So that's disrupted him a bit. Zahore's come on, a couple of runs, just been offside. The usual fluidity that we were seeing at the start of the season wasn't there, but you just seen the physio signal to the bench. It's his right hamstring for Tyrese Campbell. He's not moving well at all, but for how the game plan of Stoke City has been implemented, he'll be a massive blow, because he gives them that pace. And it was Tom Ince, wasn't it, getting down the side of Hegazi with his pace that caused a problem. Tyrese Campbell getting the goal, and I'll just be interested now to see who's going to be coming on in his place.
And don't forget, TalkSport 2 is also your new home of live cricket. The fourth and final test starts live from Johannesburg, exclusive to TalkSport 2 on Friday, after England wrapped up the third test today by an innings and 53 runs to go 2-1 up in the series. And coming up next week, live coverage from the Premier League, the FA Cup and the NFL playoffs. And you can download the app, swipe left to the orange TalkSport 2 logo and hit play. Listen online on your DAB radio or ask your smart speaker to play TalkSport 2. Lee Gregory has now come on for Stoke City to replace Tyrese Campbell, but they lead by a 0-0, and commentary now continues over on TalkSport 2. Free kick, which Matt Phillips will take. And you wonder if players have been warmed up properly. Phillips with the delivery high into the area. It's cleared away as far as Furlong. Now Hegazi with a high-hanging cross, headed back into the 6-yard area, and there was pinball in there. A clearance of Martin Zindi fell to Pereira on the angle 4 yards out, but he rather pecked at the header, and it's gathered comfortably by Butland. Yeah,
Hegazi did really well to ding that back over to the back post, but it was hard for Pereira to generate any power, so it was a comfortable save in the end for Butland. But as you say, Gregory, would have been difficult for him and Zahor to have had a proper warm-up to come on. They've got their big subs coats and then they come into it, but it seems to be at this stage of the season that there's been so many injuries, pulls, strains. Newcastle have been the worst affected, but that's that there for Stoke City will be a big blow. And for Tyrese Campbell, because you mentioned he's coming out of contract, the last thing he wants is a hamstring problem.
Well, it's a bitterly cold night here, of course. The Hawthorns famously is the highest ground at English football, and our cars will be covered in frost when we get back to the car park around half an hour after the game. But it's odd to see players go down with muscle injuries so early on. Diangana, maybe we can understand, maybe he's aggravated an existing problem, but Campbell there wasn't even going at full pace when he picked up the injury.
He wasn't, but I just think it's the stage of the season. Look at the injuries that Bournemouth are having, Newcastle are having, and it's a volume of games, a level of games, and sometimes you talked about it in the build-up, how quick Tyrese and explosive he is, and sometimes these sort of players are maybe a bit more susceptible to it, but hopefully...
Michael Owen syndrome.
Yeah, well, once you don't want as a quick player to get serious, so hopefully, the way he went down and he thought he could stretch it off, it didn't seem like, he'd been shot and it had properly gone.
As soon as they stretched it, he was in agony.
Yeah, well, he moved pretty gingerly. We've seen it with Harry Kane, haven't we? You had to actually have surgery on his, so I really hope, because he's a very talented young man and you don't want him to be dogged with hamstring injuries throughout his career when you play in that sort of fashion.
Well, Lee Gregory Scored double figures in his previous 4 seasons at Millwall before moving to Stoke, only 4 in the current campaign. Sam Klukas is the top goal scorer with 6, and it's interesting that Sam Vokes has been left on the bench and Gregory appears to be ahead of him in the pecking order at the moment. No Scott Hogan in the matchday 18 as well this evening.
I think Hogan must surely be on his way then if he's not involved. There'll be other teams. He hasn't had much game time, but for Gregory, I think they're playing him because he's more of the Campbell mould of the pace, where Vokes is a target man, needs someone playing off him. He's not going to stretch him behind.
Gregory now on the chase, and Higazi with the clearance on this near side. And with 27 minutes played, this game is rather meandering on for West Bromwich Albion. They trail by a goal to 0, and they're not really applying the sort of pressure to suggest they'll equalise very soon.
Well, apart from keeping that set piece alive, that one little bit where Pereira was leaning back, but Butland hasn't been seriously tested, has he? And he hasn't been threatened that much. And this will be suiting Stoke City at the moment, how this game won't be played.
Now a rugby tackle by Liam Lindsay on this near side on Kenneth Zohore. It will be a free kick midway inside the West Brom half on the right, and a yellow card for the former Barnsley man Liam Lindsay.
Yeah, he'd be proud of that down at Twickenham when he brought him down. He certainly got rolled there, and I don't think Liam Lindsay can be appealing that. And it's another chance now to put the ball in with quality. You can see that they've got a lot of height in the West Brom team, so Matt Phillips will be wanting to deliver this and be out swinging, and he'll look to hit it towards that second 6-yard box in between penalty spots and 6-yard line.
Higazi and Bartley both forward. Phillips does curl it into that area. It's a free header, but the flag's up, it's offside. It was Robson Kanu arriving 7 yards out, but it was some way wide.
Yeah, look, really, really good delivery. He knew that Phillips would be aiming for that area, would also oblige by hitting it there, because he's a very, very good set-piece deliverer of the ball. But credit Stoke City, they held to that last step. West Brom went slightly early, but Robson Kanu, if he had been onside, would have been disappointed, because I think that's a decent chance and with a player of his quality to get it on target, but it wouldn't have counted anyway. But good defending from Stoke to hold the line.
29 minutes played. West Brom 0, Stoke 1 on TalkSport 2. And Stoke have not won here since May of 2014 in the Premier League, when Charlie Adams scored the winner. Chris Brunt, who was on the Albion bench tonight, was involved in their side that day. And there was a time when they used to win here every season. Before that, 5 successive victories at the Hawthorns under Tony Pulis and Mark Hughes. Now seems a long time ago, as a high ball is lofted towards the edge of their area, poked away by Lindsay, but it's gathered by Sawyers. Sawyers clips it on towards Phillips on the edge of the box. Good challenge though from Martin Zindi, but Pereira quickly wins it back on this near side. Now Furlong will take on James McLean, who was doubling up to help out Martin Zindi on every occasion, so it's difficult for West Brom to break them down on this near side. Sawyers with a reverse ball into the area, flicked on by Robson Kanu, and it's gathered by Joe Allen, and things are not happening for West Bromwich Albion in an attacking sense at the moment. Martin Zindi with one ball forward up towards the halfway line, headed away by Higazi. Furlong is pressurised by McLean, but here is Bartley. But every time West Brom get the ball in the midfield area, the press is very high and very consistent from Stoke.
Yeah, they were all pressing correctly. It's well drilled. That is work on the training ground, and it's horrible as a player when you have to, especially when you're in goal and you have to stand behind and watch it, and then the ball goes there, this person releases. But when you start to reap its rewards on the pitch, and you have to be organised against a good side like this, so I totally agree. Everyone's really pressing in sync, and that's, again, look at that press. It was Klukas, Ince, and then went to Powell, and really, really good.
Powell's gone down now. Just for a second he was clutching his hamstring as well, and of course he's a player who has had so many injury problems throughout his career. Now Sawyers. Powell's almost dropping into the right back position on the far side to try and cover the run of Townsend. Pereira was also over there as well, but it's cleared away up towards the halfway line. Sawyers now under pressure, plays it back towards Bartley, but West Brom do well to find Furlong on this near side, who checks in field beyond McLean. Here is Livermore now on halfway. 32 minutes played. Stoke leading by a goal to nil. Excellent ball from Livermore to find Townsend down the left, but Ince does well to cover, and Ince was fouled by Townsend, and that's good stuff from Stoke again, and they win a free kick.
Yeah, fantastic ball from Livermore. He had to switch to play because there was no way that they could break the lines of any of the passes, because the distances between the units, between the players, very, very good from Stoke City. So it was a raking ball, but we saw it with James McLean down in front of us, tracking back on the left wing position, and there Thomas Ince, who played a brilliant part offensively in the goal, has tracked all the way back to not only get there and stop the cross, but then to win a free kick to take the pressure off his side, and Jack Butland will pump this ball about 70 yards upfield. Sorry.
He does pump it downfield, but it's straight out of play for a throw-in to West Bromwich Albion. And Sam Johnston has had nothing to do at all since the goal, but Stoke are playing like an away team should against the league leaders. They are soaking up the pressure, and they are preventing any real creativity in their defensive third.
Well, I was at Hillsborough, at Ellen Road, and Sheffield Wednesday did exactly the same to Leeds. Organised, slide in, and then really clinical when they got chances.
Butland clears downfield. You have to wonder if he'll be on his way by the end of the month, as Gregory goes down challenging Bartley, but he's the one who's given away the free kick. And now Townsend down the left into the feet of Sawyers around the corner, and there's an opportunity for West Brom to try and break again, but they're finding it so hard to get in behind. Here is Phillips. West Brom is such an effective counter-attacking team with Phillips and Pereira, and whether it's Austin or Robson Kanu down the centre, but I saw Newcastle snuff out Chelsea very effectively on Saturday night on TalkSport by leaving no space at all, and Stoke are doing something pretty similar here so far.
Yeah, it's hard for West Brom to counter-attack when they're having so much of the ball, and as you say, there's no space when they get into areas, so this is where they've got to be more, do something different, as you say, fluid movement, move the ball quickly, runs in behind, something like that. But at this moment in time, Stoke have been really good.
Robson Kanu was challenged on the far side by Smith, and it will be a throw-in to West Bromwich Albion. 34 minutes played. Stoke lead by a goal to nil. Their away victories have all come under Michael O'Neill this season, apart from the surprise success at Swansea. There's a Stoke player who's gone down. It's Joe Allen. He was challenged by Pereira right in front of the Stoke supporters on the far side, and Tim Robinson, our referee, was right there, and he's having words with players from both sides.
Did you see? Allen's going down like he's maybe been elbowed or hit by Pereira, but Pereira's pleading his innocence. A lot of players getting round. The referee seems calm. He's seen it, but be interesting to see what happened there. I didn't see. Did you?
No, he doesn't have the support of an assistant in that half on the far side, so Tim Robinson will be relying on what he saw himself. And he's brought Pereira across to him along with Allen, and he's having words with both at the moment. Pereira with arms outstretched, and he's given nothing in terms of cards.
Well, if he's not sure, he can't send anybody off, but maybe it was a coming together. He wouldn't like to think that Joe Allen would feign injury, but he looks all right, doesn't he? So
yeah,
look, let's get on with it, and if there is anything, then it will happen retrospectively.
Now Townsend on the far side, and again it's Powell who comes in with a challenge and wins a throw, and he looks to take it very quickly and try and release Gregory on the Stoke right, but he never quite had control of the ball. So Stoke will try and build again now with 9 minutes to play in the first half, and they are looking very comfortable.
Yeah, and as comfortable as you can away at the leaders, 1-0 up. They've looked really, really good, and we mentioned, didn't we were at the game, was it November time we were there, and I thought Stoke were passive, but tonight they've organised, they've pressed at the right times, and they've got bodies forward when they needed to, got the goal, and they're working really, really hard with and without the ball.
Now Robson Kanu, good change of feet on the halfway line to evade a couple of Stoke challenges. Livermore slides it wide to the right hand side, and Furlong will try and take on McLean again. It's a solid challenge by McLean. A corner's been conceded. The West Brom supporters wanted a foul, but McLean got the ball.
Yeah, he got the ball, he stood up, and what's happening is the wingers for Stoke are having to accept the fullbacks for West Bromwich Albion. So on this right hand side in front of us, Furlong's coming forward. It's McLean's job to do with it, because Martin Zindi's going into the middle to help protect, and again James McLean's done really well, and the ball's gone out for a corner, and again Stoke will look to get a first contact on it.
Pereira will take it. Phillips is the shorter option, but Pereira plays it high into the 6-yard area. Butland's not got there, but Klukas dives in with a very important header to clear. Allen now tries to release Klukas midway inside the Stoke half, where they're giving the ball away. The ball swung in by Phillips towards the edge of the area, but it's cleared by Bart, and now Gregory will chase long downfield, but Sam Johnston outside his penalty area gets there first. Long right-footed ball forward from him, but it's intercepted by Joe Allen. Just helped down the channel. Gregory will leap for it with Sawyers. Sawyers wins the header and then plays it back towards his goalkeeper once again, and he's the option on this near side as they look to play out from the back.
Yeah, so good defending there from Sawyers, good goalkeeping earlier from Sam Johnson to sweep up, but on the initial break when Butland came and punched that corner and Stoke were breaking, if the pass had been correct out to the right hand side and got there, then Stoke had about 3 or 4 black shirts bursting forward, would have been against the one West Bromwich Albion defender. So nearly another counter-attacking option there for Stoke.
Butland now clears downfield once again. Well, West Brom are just beginning to edge the midfield battle at the moment, with 6.5 minutes to play in the first half. Livermore wins it and then plays the early ball forward over the top, looking for the run of Zohore, who tries to chest the ball down, pressurised by Danny Bart, but he can't link up with Robson Kanu. Gregory then catches Townsend just on the halfway line, and it's another free kick given to West Brom. And they are the stronger team at the moment, but it's a lot of huff and puff and very little inspiration.
Yeah, a huff and puff, and then they're playing the long ball up, and Danny Bart will have that battle with Zohore all day. Lindsay will fancy it as well. I feel that West Brom have got to move the ball quickly, try and switch to play, maybe little bits of magic, but at the moment they haven't been able to get Pereira really on the ball in dangerous positions where he can get a people 1v1. So yeah, huffing and puffing is what West Brom are doing.
And as a former Wolves man, Danny Bart will be very keen to win here.
Yeah, he's a local lad, he came through the system. And
now Furlong down the right, high hanging cross towards the far post. Zohore will try and recover it. It's played back towards Phillips. Phillips can come in field and he whips it in right-footed, and it was arcing towards the far post and then just over the top.
Yeah, I think he was appealing for a corner there, but yeah, it didn't quite come down enough, but cutting inside, looked to whip it with pace, but Butland looked quite relaxed. He had that covered if it was on target, but better from West Brom. But Jack Butland still hasn't had a serious save to make, and we're nearly 40 minutes into the first half.
And Stoke have scored more league goals away from home under Michael O'Neill in 6 games than they did in 17 under Nathan Jones, when things just never really worked out for them. As Gregory will chase again from the goal kick. It's hooked clear by Furlong. Now Allen wide to the far side and Ince. Smith makes the run on the overlap ahead of him, then has to check back and gather the pass from Ince. Now on the halfway line it's Bart. Bart is quickly closed down by Zohore, and he concedes possession, and West Brom have a throw-in, and they're keen to get on with things here with 4.5 minutes to play in the first half on TalkSport 2. Stoke leading by a 0-0. Tyrese Campbell scoring in the 10th minute, but he's since gone off injured. Grady Diangana lasted barely 90 seconds for West Brom on his comeback following 5 games out. And all that talk about whether he'll go back to West Ham in this month may turn out to be academic.
Yeah, just be going back maybe for a bit of treatment, because they'll be wanting to get their player right, but apart from that, yeah, they probably won't be recalling him.
Now Zohore almost gets the bounce of the ball as the ricochet off Martin Zindi nearly drops for him on the edge of the penalty area, but Stoke again managed to work it back towards Jack Butland, who clears long downfield. Hegazi did seem to push Gregory there as he won the aerial challenge, but nothing given. Livermore finding Hegazi once again. And now Carl Bartley, but Stoke are very happy for West Brom to have the ball in those sort of areas, so Bartley has to knock it long wide to this near side, and Phillips, he's tracked by Martin Zindi. Back to Furlong, the first time ball into the penalty area, headed away by Lindsay. And here is Bartley once again on the halfway line with 42 minutes played, and Stoke maybe playing for half time now, leading by a goal to nil. Higazi slid down the centre for Zohore. And now Pereira, who has seen very little of the ball in dangerous areas, and his ball over the top is volley cleared by Tom Ince inside the area. And both Ince and McLean have done much of their best work, apart from the goal, deep inside their own half. And now a free kick's being given. Livermore dragging down Nick Powell in a headlock, just epitomising the frustration that Stoke are feeling. Martin Zindi plays it in behind, looking for Gregory, and Gregory commits another foul, this time on Bartley, and it's a free kick for West Brom. They play the ball out quickly. Higazi under pressure from Powell, but Powell then slips at the vital moment as he tries to close down Sam Johnston.
A little dummy there from Sam Johnson, but as you say, that word frustration for West Brom.
Here is Robson Kanu now, wide on the right hand side. Danny Bart sticking with him. Robson Kanu's cross high to the far post, looking for Pereira, but it was the player in front of him, Zohore, who tried to head it towards goal, and in the end it rather just dribbled off his shoulder behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, I thought that was a good cross, really good cross into a dangerous area, but Zohore couldn't get a contact on it with his head, which I think he was wanting, or he wasn't able to bring it down his chest either. But the only thing with some of these balls up front, they're going up to Gregory, and Higazi against Gregory isn't the most even contest for long balls being pumped 60-70 yards. But I just think West Brom they've got to try and get the ball into wide areas and create overloads.
Now Gregory pressurising Sawyers, and Sawyers is strong enough to recover as the black shirt swarmed around him, and he finds Sam Johnston again. But the home crowd here are not a factor in this game at all at the moment, as Townsend has just been caught by Ince on the far side, and it's a West Brom free kick with a minute of normal time to play in the first half. On TalkSport 2, Stoke leading by a goal to nil. There has been one clear-cut chance in the game, and it was stuck away by Tyrese Campbell. Now Martin Zindi just miscontrols on this near side and concedes a throw-in, which Matt Phillips will take, but there's been very little zest about West Brom's performance at all. Phillips now looks to hit the byline, then checks back beyond Martin Zindi, who was invited to make the challenge and did, and it's another throw into West Brom. And this first half is heading towards added time, and I think the West Brom fans are bored.
Well, and sometimes as players on the pitch, you've got to do something to lift the crowd. They're turning up on a Monday night in good numbers, but there's been nothing to get them off the seats from a West Brom point of view.
Now it's been given away by Bartley. Bartley should receive a yellow card here because he made a mistake and then he hauled back Gregory by his shirt, and he does receive the yellow card, and there'll be 4 added minutes.
Yeah, he pulled him back, but what a good press again. Whoever is nearest the ball recognises they can go, and they're all pressing then with real intensity, endeavour, intelligence, and winning the ball back. And this West Brom team, we talked about how Sawyers and players like that like to control the rhythm of the game. They've just not been able to at all.
Free kick, which Martin Zindi will take, high towards the far post. Danny Bart challenging for it, but losing out to Higazi. And now West Brom will try and break themselves. Robson Kanu square towards Pereira on this near side. A first time ball forward towards Robson Kanu, who is caught by Joe Allen right on the edge of the penalty area, right hand side, and Allen will also be booked.
I was just going to say, brilliant tracking back from Allen, showing a desire to get there. But the player of his experience, I think he could have just stayed on his feet and jockeyed him. But instead he's brought him down, and you say, what's that, a yard outside of the box, to the corner, to the right-hand corner. That's a really dangerous position. Pereira will be over it with his left foot. Will he be looking to whip this in? So from Stoke, looking pretty good. This is a dangerous moment for them. He's going to set up his 3-man wall, Jack Butland, and he's going to have to protect his side of the goal, stand strong. Will Allen go in the wall? I think he will. I think it'll be a 3-man wall from here. But I just felt Joe Allen, great desire to get back, but didn't need to make the challenge.
I think he's been playing angry for Stoke for some time. He scored in that win against Luton and then did the cupped hand to the ear in front of the Stoke fans, which didn't go down too well.
Yeah, and he's another one who really probably believes he's good enough for the Premier League, but he's here and dangerous free kick it now.
Pereira is over it. Every black shirt back defending for Stoke City. Deep into added time here on TalkSport 2. And it's Pereira, left-footed, who curls it, and it was always swinging just wide.
He had that covered, didn't he? And he's hoping there that Jack Butland has a little cheat and goes behind his wall. But to be fair to Jack Butland, he stood, he was brave, and he was always going wide, wasn't he? But if he had been inside, he looked like he had it well covered. So looks like Stoke have escaped that one.
And our colleagues in TalkSport Towers tell us that there was a flick of the elbow into the arm of Allen before in that clash with Pereira.
Okay, interesting.
Not too much in it, but maybe the authorities will look at it again retrospectively.
Yeah, violent conduct. And look, when you've lost it in Ghana, the last thing you want is to lose Pereira with something petulant like that. And I think we saw the incident in the West Ham Everton game where I was surprised, in my opinion, the VAR didn't, even though it didn't seriously hurt Holgate, it was still a movement.
That's not the point, is it?
It was violent conduct. So if he has moved his elbow, it'll be interesting to see his retrospective action, because you need to have consistency. And if he gets banned, Slaven Bilic will be raging for something like that.
And of course, West Brom are at West Ham in the FA Cup on Saturday. Slaven Bilic making his return to the London Stadium, but he won't be thinking about that at the moment, with his side trailing by a goal to nil here, deep into first half added time at the Hawthorns on TalkSport 2. Campbell does well to win a header, finding Powell on the far side. They're now Ince by the corner flag, and he's done well to find Powell. Ince now could open up his body to firing the cross, but he looks to pick out Powell again, and it was all a bit too tight, a bit too confined on the far side, and it's a throw into West Brom.
It is, but it's a throw right down by the corner flag. Stoke City will lock on, and they'll just be really happy if they can see this through to half-time.
Lindsay with a very simple ball over the top again, which is headed away by Townsend. Almost gathered in stride by Powell on the edge of the area. But that is half-time. One or two grumbles, one or two boos from the West Bromwich Albion supporters. Slaven Bilic strides down the tunnel, and he does not look a happy man. This evening started to go wrong for Albion. The moment Grady Diangana limped off inside the opening 2 minutes, his comeback from injury finishing very, very quickly. Then Ahmed Hegazi, the player brought in by Bilic to replace Semi Ajayi, made the mistake which allowed Tom Ince to play in Tyrese Campbell to score the only goal so far. Campbell since has also gone off injured, but Stoke City are frustrating West Bromwich Albion, and the top two continue to labour at half-time. West Bromwich Albion 0, Stoke City 1. Thank you, Dan. And news from the dressing room about Grady Diangana. I understand it's a recurrence of a back injury, which is why he went off inside the opening couple of minutes. There was no one near him when he went down, but clearly there is a problem which has been there previously, and we have to wonder how long he will be absent now, and whether he will feature in a West Bromwich Albion shirt again. And to have a persistent problem, that's a real issue.
Yeah, you wonder what it is, because you've seen it with Marcus Rashford as well, haven't you? He's had a back problem. Sometimes that's why maybe he looked like before he was feeling his hamstring, because that your back can set off a nervy pain down into your hamstring. So hopefully he hasn't pulled anything. Hopefully it's just a bit of a nervy pain. But it's just interesting, when he's been out so long, to break down so quickly. That will be the real concern.
West Brom back underway, attacking the Birmingham Road end away to our left-hand side in the second half here at the Hawthorns, on what is a fearsomely cold night here now. The temperature some way below freezing point, as Pereira plays it back towards Sawyers, clipped into the area left-hand side. There's a mistake by Ince. It almost breaks to Townsend, but in the end fortune favoured Stoke City, and it bobbles into the arms of Jack Butland.
Yeah, well, it was Ince latching onto a poor clearance in the first half to set up the goal, and he got very lucky there. It was sort of like an air shot, totally missed it, ended up bobbling off him, and but at the end just rolled into the grateful hands of Jack Butland. But that would have been a nervy moment for Tom Ince, and Stoke will want to start this half very, very well. And Hegazi there coming across, putting his right foot through it, and I still feel he got to that ball over the top for the Stoke City goal, the only goal of the game, and was able to clear the ball and got there with his left foot and instead whacked it off Tom Ince. But at least it looks like West Brom will come out with a bit more intensity.
Sawyers now with the ball over the top, looking for Zohore, who will try and keep it in play and does so on this near side. Now Robson Kanu, a high cross into the area, headed up in the air by Bart, and then Allen just nudges it further away towards this near side, just in front of us. Now Robson Kanu again, an audacious back heel to find Sawyers, who chops back onto his left foot. Now wide to this near side, and Robson Kanu again, the drifted ball in, strikes his former Welsh teammate Joe Allen. A bicycle kick from Tom Ince by the corner flag, but it only finds Sawyers. Here is Townsend now with a high cross into the area beyond everybody in a blue and white striped shirt, and James McLean will hack the ball away, but only as far as Carl Bartlett. 2 minutes played in the second half. Hegazi now has room and time to bring the ball forward for West Brom, and he's found Dean Garner 25 yards out, back towards Livermore, wide to the far side, and Phillips with the cross in, which is deflected. It's gathered well by Pereira on the edge of the penalty area, shepherded into the central position by both Powell and Klukas, but there's an opportunity now for Livermore to pick out the run of Robson Kanu on the edge of the penalty area, but he's quickly closed down, and it's a throw into West Brom, midway inside the Stoke half on the far side. And it's been strong pressure from the home team, trailing by a goal to nil since the whistle went to start the second half. Now Robson Kanu on the far side, almost crowded out, and eventually Lindsay gets a toe in, and it's a throw into West Brom by the corner flag down their right.
Well, they used to having to come from behind, aren't they, in games? West Bromwich have been conceded a lot, the first goal often. They've come out with some more intensity in this opening couple of minutes than they did in the whole of the first half, getting bodies forward, and it looks like Robson Kanu's playing more the left and Pereira's in that hole.
Now it's scooped away by Martin Zindi, headed back into the penalty area by Bartley, and the ball will deflect behind off Martin Zindi for the first corner of the second half to West Brom.
Yeah, but the whole passage of this play started when Zohore ran in behind, didn't he? He ran in behind, stretched it a bit, and they've just kept the pressure on. And listen now, they're getting noise from the fans, and they're getting behind them, because in the first half they didn't really have anything to cheer, but Stoke want to start this well. They defended other set pieces well, and they've been getting the first contact, so good chance now. Obviously the corner will come in.
Pereira driven low towards the near post, flicked on. It was the right idea. It was Furlong who tried to divert the ball towards goal, but there was no pace on the eventual finish, and it's gathered by Butland.
Yeah, because at first I thought, has he mishit that? But yeah, it was definitely the right ploy, wasn't it? And they tried with the movement and drilling it in low, and in the end Furlong couldn't quite get enough on it. But that has been a very, very encouraging start for Slaven Bilic. He's certainly given his team a bit of a rocket, and the fans are responding to it, and that feeds down to the players on the pitch.
Pereira back towards Hegazi, the West Brom team again. Johnston in goal, Furlong, Hegazi, Bartley and Townsend, Livermore and Sawyers, Phillips, Robson Kanu, Pereira and Zohore. Dean Garner going off in the second minute to be replaced by Zohore after 5 games out with injury. Now Bartley with a long ball over the top, wide to the far side, looking for Phillips, who beats Martin Zindi in the air. It's almost gathered by Livermore inside the box. Now Robson Kanu poked him back towards Livermore, and the header is wide in the end. And the bodies were flying in. I think it may have been Robson Kanu with the final touch, but the header just wide.
Yeah, so Robson Kanu is out on the left, Phillips is out on the right, and when West Brom have controlled possession at the back, they're trying to make the pitch a lot wider than they did in the first half. So you saw Matt Phillips really touching that, hugging that touchline. So when the big switch kick, big diagonal ball went over, then Kanu came in from the left, as all good wingers should. Good play from Livermore joining in. Ball gets flicked in, and Kanu wanted it most, got in front of his man, but just went wide. And the referee just had a word with Jack Butland. So we're 15 minutes into the game, and he's already been told, speed it up a little, Jack.
Butland in goal for Stoke. Smith, Bart, Lindsay and Martin Zindi their back four. Ince and McLean in the wide areas. Alan Powell and Klukas in central midfield. And it's now Gregory in attack, their goal scorer, Tyrese Campbell, heading off with a hamstring injury, and Bartlett almost challenged and fouled Joe Allen there at the heart of the midfield battle, but I think realised he was on a yellow card, so pulled out. So as a result, Stoke almost broke. But here is Pereira now for West Brom. He's beyond the challenge of Powell. Allen also on a yellow card with half a foul, but Pereira does well to keep his feet and play it wide to the far side, and Furlong, early first time cross into the area looking for Zahor, but Butland was always favourite to gather that.
But what beat the Stoke press? They ratted at him, as you say. Allen was in there pressing. I think Powell was in there as well. But somehow Pereira on the halfway line, on the floor, managed to turn, beat the press, and then play the ball out wide. But the ball was a bit too lofty, and well claimed by Jack Butland. And we've said he's got to keep his concentration, because he hasn't had loads to do. But there's going to be times against top of the league that you're going to weather, a bit of pressure, and that's where your goalkeeper's either going to have to make a good save or come and take the crosses. And Stoke are going to have to just absorb this bit of pressure at the moment.
7 minutes played in the second half. West Brom trailing by a goal to nil, but they've been the better side since half time. Stoke with a rare attack here. Gregory bursting into the penalty area beyond Higazi. He finds Ince with a shot which was blocked eventually by the Egyptian. The ball loops high towards the halfway line. Here is Sawyers now, infield to Pereira, the two real technicians in the West Brom midfield. Pereira looks to find Zahor on halfway. It's laid back to Robson Kanu, a high ball across the field from left to right, seeking out Phillips, headed away by Martin Zindi. Now Lindsay with a more decisive header up towards the halfway line. Livermore plays it back over the top, but if it's a high ball, Stoke City have shown themselves very adept at dealing with those. Klukas now plays it in behind, looking for the pace of Gregory. It's won back initially by Furlong, but then given away. McLean wide to this near side, and Ince, who set up the Stoke goal in the 10th minute. Infield again towards Allen. Ince will continue up towards the edge of the penalty area. Klukas finding Smith for the first time in the second half. Stoke enjoying some sustained possession, but it quickly comes to an end as Gregory pokes it out of play.
Yeah, that was their first little bit of controlled possession in the whole of the second half. But we wondered, how would West Brom get into this? Yes, make the pitch a bit wider, but put Pereira in the middle. Him in that hole is what is creating the problems at the moment. He's getting on the ball and he's looking really, really good.
Robson Kanu plays it over the top, but it's dealt with well by Bart to chest the ball down and then clear. Gregory unable to pick his way past Bartlett, and here is Pereira now in that central area Matt Murray was talking about, but his pass forward is blocked by Allen. And I was talking to our colleague Tom Ross at half-time, and he described Stoke as functional. Fair enough, but that's what they need to be at the moment.
It's all about results, and we talked about Derby getting a result against Hull. That's what Stoke need to do.
Now Furlong down the right-hand side, looking to take on the run of McLean. The high cross into the area, fisted away by Butland. There was no West Brom player anywhere near him, but he got the job done again. And here's an opportunity for the willowy figure of Powell to try and bring it forward on this near side, but it's Townsend who makes the challenge, and it's a throw into Stoke down their left.
It's the right decision for Jack Butland to come there, but I believe he can come and catch it. I really, really rate Jack Butland, and you asked, will he be here at the end of this window? I think it'll be probably the summer that he moves, but that's still not a confident Jack Butland. And I watched him away at Huddersfield, and he actually punched the ball onto his own defender and it went into the net, and he was a little bit fortunate there, because I say I'm a big Jack Butland fan, but that wasn't the most convincing goalkeeping for me.
Well, he's such a huge physical presence, and he's wearing blue gloves this evening which look absolutely massive.
Yeah, he's a big unit. He's about 6'5". Yeah. Very powerful, very athletic, and he's a Premier League goalkeeper, and I think if he can get into the Premier League and get going, he will be England's number one.
Beat me at darts in the World Cup as well.
He must be good.
Here is Zahor coming forward now up towards the edge of the area. 25 yards out, left foot shot dragged wide. And Kenneth Zahor looks like a player who is almost trying too hard to make an impression in a West Brom shirt.
Yeah, good to get on the ball. He's running, he's shown that urgency, but then composure. That was not the right decision. He was stretching, he was not even central to goal, 25 yards on his left foot, and he just totally scuffs it wide. And again, it's a chance for Stoke just to take a bit of sting out of it, a bit of momentum, take your time, and then look, they're not trying to play out from the back at all, Stoke, in any way. And but yeah, Kenneth Zohore, after some good play, I think should have looked for a pass.
Now Phillips down the right-hand side for West Brom. 56 minutes played on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. It's West Brom 0, Stoke City 1. And after Leeds' loss at Queen's Park Rangers on Saturday, West Bromwich Albion could also be dropping points here. And this will be only their second home defeat of the season, but they would have come in fairly quick succession. And I think Wolves are about the only team in recent times to have gone through a championship season without a real blip, but it always seems to happen.
Yeah, we can mention Wolves if we want, you know what I mean?
but it's true. I mean, they may have lost a couple of games, but
that's why we say we love the championship, because it's so hard to call and it's so competitive. It's relentless. You've got the cup games, you've got the league games. You know, there's teams that there's such contrasting styles. But here you've got players who've raced the Premier League, if you like. There's some really, really good Premier League players.
Stoke have 9 players in their starting lineup who played in the Premier League.
Yeah, and it's a lot of internationals on show. And it's like you've said before, sometimes players were signed for clubs for the Premier League. So when they have to come down to Championship, it's very, very difficult in a different style. So, but this is a big test for West Brom tonight.
Pagazi brings the ball out well for West Brom. Wide to this near side in Townsend. Infield towards Pereira. He was caught and fouled by Smith, but the referee allows play to continue. Phillips now 25 yards out, jabs it back to Livermore. Wide towards Darnell Furlong once again, who whips it across, high to the far post. Zohore was shaping for the header, cleared by Bart and then volleyed over the top by Pereira.
And Jack Butland has walked out there and given Danny Bart a slap on the back to say that is a fantastic header, because that cross came in and it was a horrible one. You as a goalkeeper, you're thinking, into that area, can I come and get involved? But he couldn't, because of the quality of the ball, and Danny Bart knows he's under pressure and he manages to get a head on it into that good area. And then obviously Pereira, that's a half chance for him dropping there, and he believed he could maybe should be hitting the target there. But what a header from Danny Bart under pressure there.
58 minutes played, Stoke lead 1-0. Both of these sides were of course relegated together back in 2018, and Stoke's 3-1 win in their final Premier League meeting with West Brom at the Bet365, their only success in their previous 10 meetings. And it's the £100 million question, Matt, but why have Albion, relatively speaking, adapted so well and Stoke done so badly?
I think it's a mindset, but I also think it's how you get relegated. So Fulham have come down.
Here is Allen now, picking the pocket of Pereira and moving forward for Stoke up towards the edge of the penalty area. Allen comes in field, Gregory's in space, left foot shot is wide, and he should have made it 2-0. Brilliant play from Joe Allen to set him up, and Gregory, with a clear sight of goal, fails to hit the target.
So there's a game plan again. West Brom have totally been in control this half. Apart from scoring, they've played, they've built, they look really, really good. One chance that they overplay it at the back. Allen picks a time, drives them with real quality. The weight of pass, I thought, to Gregory was perfect, but he just didn't look confident there on his left foot. I think he needed to be laces and strike through it. It was a sort of scuffed effort, if you like, and rolled across, because 6-7 yards out, yes, a little bit of an angle, but if you put your foot through that and go hard and low with pace, kiss the grass with the strike, very difficult for keepers. And I tell you what, 2 goals up would have been a real hammer blow, if you like, to West Brom. So big chance there for Stoke.
And in amongst all of this West Brom pressure, the 2 clear-cut chances in the game have both gone to Stoke. The goal and that.
Yeah, that is, as far as strikers go, that is as clear as they come. Really, really good opportunity.
Now Gregory loses out to Bartley. The early ball played forward on the far side for Zohore, who controls it well, plays it back in field. Livermore with a right-footed shot, claims a deflection. And a goal kick's been given. Tim Robinson, the referee, I think was talking to his assistant and has still said goal kick, and I can tell you from here he's wrong.
Well, from Jake Livermore's reaction, he can't believe it, and Slaven Bilic is down there having a word. And
yeah, John Brooks, the 4th official, is getting it in the ear from Slaven Bilic, but
it's not his fault.
What's he done?
Yeah, it's not his fault, but what the referee was in a perfect position there as well, because Livermore, he scored some really good goals this season, really good goals from that area, and I thought then Gregory was going to be made to pay.
Now Klukas losing out to Phillips and fouling Phillips. It's a free kick for West Brom, midway inside their own half, but we've played 61 minutes here on TalkSport 2, and West Bromwich Albion still labouring, trailing here by a 1-0, and this could be a season-changing result for Stoke City if they can just move themselves 4 points away from the bottom three, clear daylight, breathing space. It could set the tone for what's to come.
Yeah, because is it Preston Barnsley play tomorrow night at home?
Yeah.
And with the form Barnsley are in at the moment, they were unlucky not to get anything away at Bristol City.
They're fighting, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're really playing well. So if they could go ahead of Stoke if Stoke lose tonight.
Now Johnston comes some way outside his penalty area, calls off Agazi and clears it long downfield, and I'm not sure that ball's come down.
Well, it's gone over the roof. Get rid of that one.
That's some achievement to put the ball over the Halford Road stand here. Tom Ross's Bentley's in the car park.
Yeah, denting Tom Ross's Bentley, eh? He's not listening.
He can't hear us. Oh, he can. Stoke looking to come forward again here. On the break, they have done pretty well so far. The games in the Championship tomorrow night: Barnsley against Preston and Middlesbrough against Birmingham. Birmingham, one of those sides just hovering above the pack in more immediate danger, along with Middlesbrough at the moment.
Are Birmingham in financial trouble again as well? Are they going to get investigated, or are they okay? I thought I heard whisperings of that as well.
Well, of course, they were done the points deduction last season. At the moment, it's Derby and Sheffield Wednesday under the microscope as Livermore clips it into the penalty area, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. And on Wednesday, Charlton against Fulham and Forest against Reading. Forest, of course, now they're only 5 points behind Leeds. They've got a winnable home game, you have to say, although Reading have been going well themselves, and Fulham have been flaky at times, and Charlton are fighting.
Yeah, so it's so hard to call all the time, but there will still be some key bits of business done in this window. I still believe Che Adams, people like that, as you say, Andre Gray, people like that could be moving and could be the difference. So there'll be some injuries, there'll be some suspensions, lots of things like that. Calvin Phillips will be being Mr. Lee, so there's going to be plenty more twists and turns in this Championship season.
And they've got problems, Leeds, because Phillips is out for 3 games, Forshaw's not fit, and that's a massive hole they need to fill.
Yeah, huge.
And they, in their next game, they do have a bit of a break. They're not involved in the FA Cup this weekend, but their next game's at home to Millwall. Brentford's next game is against Forest.
So many twists and turns, but you can see how important the midfield is, because I think this evening, the platform has been given by the midfield.
And now a shot from Robson Kanu, a snapshot on the edge of the area, found by Sawyers, but it's a comfortable save for Butland. And there is a Stoke player down on this near side.
Smith?
Yeah, I think it's Tommy Smith. Well, they were forced into a change in the first half when Tyrese Campbell scored the goal and then pulled up with a hamstring injury. Maybe more significantly, as far as the promotion race is concerned, Grady Diangana lasted 90 seconds of his comeback, a recurrence of a back problem, and if it is persistent back trouble, then he may have to have a long time out to get that sorted out.
Yeah, because I didn't know loads about him. I heard bits, but he really came onto the scene and scored away at Luton, I think it was, scored some good goals there. Very good play. He was coveted by a few clubs. Luke Dowling and the recruitment people at West Brom were able to get him in, and Pereira again, he came in, and sometimes in players like Pereira can be a little bit of a risk because you don't know how to adapt to the English game, but he's been absolutely phenomenal. But I still feel that...
And he is here for the season, there's no question of him being recalled.
And he's been great, and if West Brom don't go to the Premier League, I think Premier League sides will be looking at him in the summer and be looking to sign him. But Smith, has been really, really good for Stoke City tonight. So it looked like was it a coming together, a little bit of an impact one? I think he'll be okay, and he'll need to be okay because he's been really good defensively. Because I think this whole, the two four units of the defensive unit and midfield unit have looked very organised.
65 minutes played. Stoke continue to lead by a goal to nil. On TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. As Klukas comes forward now down the left, sweeps in a low cross which is cleared away. Now a second ball delivered high into the penalty area, but it was overhit by McLean into the arms of Johnston, who quickly bowls it out and finds Matías Pereira. Pereira slides it down the channel, right hand side for Zohore. Zohore will look for support, comes in field, slides it in towards Livermore on the edge of the penalty area. Livermore maybe thought about the shot, goes back towards Romain Sawyers. The option wide to the left hand side is Townsend. Townsend though had to control, couldn't deliver the early cross in, and now Sawyers once again. And Jermaine Sawyers' languid style is maybe annoying some of the West Bromwich Albion supporters at the moment who want more urgency, but that's not really his game.
They want more urgency, but you have to credit Stoke City, because great throughout Sam Johnson to break the lines into prayer. He drives, good run by Zohore, who has looked more effective. But because Stoke worked so hard to get back into shape, when the ball got to Livermore end of the box, he didn't have anything on, and then it ended up being worked around, and Sawyers wanted to keep possession. So yes, they're a bit frustrated, the West Brom fans, and he has got that languid style, as you say, but credit Stoke City to work back so quickly and get in their shape.
67 minutes played. Leasing.com trophy action on TalkSport 2 tomorrow night. The holders Portsmouth at home to Scunthorpe. Kick-off over on TalkSport will be round the grounds in the Premier League on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then on Thursday it is Tranmere Rovers against Watford in the FA Cup third round replay. Manchester United play the winners at home on Sunday. And Sunderland against Doncaster Rovers is the League One commentary on Friday night. Robson Kanu with a low cross into the area, diving in to head the ball away was Lindsay. Livermore returns it from long range, right-footed, and it whizzes some way high over the angle.
Yeah, and he can't appeal for a goal kick that time, but good play, wasn't it, from Robson Kanu, put the ball in. But credit Liam Lindsay, he's the one who gets his head on it, heads it to a good area. Then West Brom onto the second ball, but drops out to Livermore under a bit of pressure. He strikes the ball well over, but that's it again. They're getting into dangerous areas, but has Butland made a serious save? I can't think of one.
No. Neither has Sam Johnston really, but he has been beaten, and he watched that shot from Gregory go past the post when he was beaten as well. Now Smith on this near side, and Stoke, well, we've hammered them at times this season, rightly so, for being poor attitude, big wages, small hearts, you can name it, but tonight they've been absolutely spot on.
Yeah, they've worked really hard and they've showed bits of quality in possession, but their work rate, they're in a relegation fight. So when you're
they look like a team who are fighting.
Yeah, and that's what you've got to show, and that's a bit that you sometimes worry about with teams. But there were times as well, though. What does it mean you did Forest together, where they were excellent in spells and then they ended up losing the game with a mistake? But you could see that there's quality.
I did that one, yeah, but I saw the game.
Yeah.
And look, they are where they are because they've been rubbish. But tonight they looked
really
to have
hard.
the right stuff. Yeah. Now McLean on the edge of the penalty area, jabs it wide to the left. Martin Zindi with a low shot, turned aside by Johnston, and that was moving all over the place.
Horrible one for a goalkeeper there, because you say it's moving, and the way it dropped, it sort of met it on the half volley, could save.
Now Robson Kanu looking to charge down the left, but his first touch was a bit heavy, and there's a big right foot through the ball from Jack Butland up to the halfway line. Powell jumps with Higazi. Now Pereira back towards Livermore again as we tick towards the final 20 minutes on TalkSport 2. And Stoke continue to lead, but here it's Phillips down the left, low cross into the near post, which is met by Liam Lindsay. High ball in now from Furlong, but Bart is there to clear for Stoke City once again. Slaven Bilic paces around his technical area. Michael O'Neill looking pensive to his right. Now Sawyers coming in field from the left-hand side. Pereira juggles on the edge of the area, but he can't get the ball down. Bart will clear, and there's a chase on this near side for Powell, but Higazi will quickly find Barkley, and Stoke City are just beginning to drop that bit deeper.
Yeah, they are, but they know there's going to be stages where they have to do this, but West Brom sometimes get frustrated, might take that little chance. But going back to that Sam Johnson save, was dipping in front of him, but what was impressive was he met it on half volley, but there were a few black shirts following him, but he pushed it to a really good area.
Now Phillips on the right hand side, a cross in which is deflected, is it? No, straight behind for a goal kick. And there is movement on the bench for Stoke City, and it's Jordan Cousins, the former Charlton and Queen's Park Rangers man, who will come on, and Nick Powell goes off, so that's a defensive move.
Yeah, and they're realising they were weathering a bit of a storm. Powell doesn't look injured, he's just walking off. He's worked hard though, but I think that you always know that you're going to come to West Brom. They're going to have they're getting possession, they're getting good areas, but still, who was it tracking back when Phillips was out there? It was McLean, the fullback. So they're all sticking to the game plan, they're sticking to the task, they're running the clock down. But yeah, I think Joe Allen, it looks like, might play a little bit higher. Cousins will come in there and try and stop Pereira playing, I think, because he's getting on the ball so much.
Furlong heads it forward, it's controlled by Klukas. Klukas does well to find Martin Zindi, and now McLean just helps it into the channel left hand side, looking for Gregory, who's won the second ball, but he was offside originally, so it's a free kick for West Brom. But we only have 18 minutes to play on TalkSport 2 with Matt Murray and Nigel Adderley bringing you all the action from the Sky Bet Championship. Stoke have not won here since May of 2014. They've not won back-to-back games away from home since October of 2015, as Agazi has given the ball away to Allen. Allen slides it forward to Gregory on the edge of the area, but he had three blue and white shirts around him, and it's given away by Sawyers as West Brom look to clear now with Robson Kanu, but a strong challenge from Allen. Allen needs to be careful on a yellow card. But only the free kick given.
Yeah, he's on the yellow, but it looks like, I thought that Stoke were playing like a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-4-2 a little bit, even a 4-5-1, whatever you want to say, but it definitely looks like a 4-1-4-1 now, that Cousins has been dropped in to try and shield those balls into Pereira, because they realise he's causing trouble. So Gregory's going to be quite isolated, he's going to have to work hard, but yeah, it's a defensive move from Michael O'Neill, trying to see this game out.
Townsend now with the cross into the penalty area. Hall will try and cushion it down, but it's McLean who challenges, and then it's pinged in by Bartley, but it's blocked by Cousins, and it spins away on the far side for a throw-in.
Well, you want your subs to come on and put the body straight on the line, and that ball was travelling, and we could hear the thud from here. Good sweet strike from Bartley, but yeah, it was Cousins coming out to get the block in, and again, Sam Johnson's goal stays intact.
Chris Brunt will be coming on shortly. Back heel now to release Pereira. Low in, looking for Zohore. It's a brilliant defensive challenge by Danny Bart to divert it behind for a corner.
Yeah, beautiful little bit of combination play from West Brom there. Ball fizzed across, and Bart knows he's got to. Sometimes you take the man, you take the space. Well, he made sure he got in front of Zohore, and a really good clearance. He's going towards his own goal. Could have been no goal. Brilliant defending again.
Pereira with the corner, laid short towards Sawyers on the edge of the box. It's a right-footed shot, which was a low scuffed effort, but a free kick's been given anyway for a challenge on Klukas, and it's a free kick, and it's going to be a double change. Austin and Brunt are coming on. Connor Townsend is the first player withdrawn, and Chris Brunt was playing the last time Stoke won here 6 years ago. Townsend and Robson Kanu, the players coming off. So Zohore stays on.
Yeah, well, he's the substituted come on, so it'd probably have been harsh to take him off, but
happened before this season.
Oh, look, there's plenty of managers who've done that. But to be fair, this half, I feel Zohore's been better this half. I thought in the first half he wasn't really at it, but he is that physical presence. Be interesting to see if West Brom change system at all, because it looks like Austin's gone up there to partner Zohore at the moment. Pereira's come back out on the left, and Brunt's gone into that left back position, but he knows he'll be getting forward, and with that wand of a left foot, he'll be looking to deliver with real quality.
Charlie Austin has scored 8 goals this season. 5 of them have come off the bench, including those 2 against Birmingham. West Brom's last win seems a long time ago now.
Yeah, well, I've seen him start games here, and he scored a few goals, I think, against Cardiff, against Sheffield Wednesday. I'm sure he scored in that. But his movement, he's very, very clever, and he gets into those areas and gets on the end of things.
And he appeals for a free kick there. as Danny Bart challenges him, but he doesn't get anything. And now Brunt, who's filling in as a left-sided defensive midfielder on this near side. His ball in field, looks to find Charlie Austin, but he clatters into Cousins, his former Queen's Park Rangers teammate, and it will be a free kick for Stoke City. And they are winding down the clock here with 14 minutes to play on TalkSport 2, leading by a goal to nil.
Chris Brunt and Michael O'Neill will know each other well.
Of course. I think he coaxed a couple of extra years out of Chris Brunt as a Northern Ireland player before his retirement. He was so unlucky to be injured before the Euros. As McLean now bursts into the penalty area, high cross in, looking for Ince, and it's headed away by Brunt at the far post, and Brunt now has the time to bring the ball clear. It's a very rare appearance for him this season. As a long ball is knocked downfield by Brunt, and it's gathered by Phillips. Brunt's 5th appearance, and they've all come as a sub. Now Sawyers, midway inside the Stoke half, plays it wide to the far side, and Furlong, a high hanging cross from him. Zahor's underneath it, but so too is Bart, and it's volleyed cleared by Smith wide to the far side for a throw into West Brom with 13 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. Stoke City just beginning to hold on to their 1-goal lead.
Danny Bart's been excellent, hasn't he? How many headers has he won? Important clearances, just no nonsense, defended really well. But what, there's a foul now out on that
on Furlong.
Yeah, foul on Furlong, and this will be another ball that West Brom are going to whip into the area. So they've had lots and lots of pressure, but that'll be the bit that Slaven Bilic was saying. We said it about Leeds as well. They've created a lot but not scored, and West Brom need to get back to their scoring ways, because they're creating pressure but not really testing the goalkeeper. But Brunt, I'm sure, jogging over there now, he'll probably be whipping this in.
Well, they've scored 50 goals in their first 27 games, West Bromwich Albion, which is an outstanding record. 14 wins, 11 draws and 2 defeats overall, but
recently they've not been as...
The pack are closing in.
Yeah.
And both West Brom and Leeds know that this will be no procession. Brunt with the free kick, curled into the area. Butland comes through the crowd to punch away as far as Pereira on this near side. Gregory looks to shepherd him into the wide area. It was a deflected cross from Pereira. Diving in to head the ball behind was Smith for a corner.
Yeah, good positioning, good good clearance there. But yeah, just going back, West Brom, I think, was it here they lost 2-0 to Middlesbrough?
Yeah.
They didn't score.
And Fletcher scored that amazing goal.
Yeah, he caught Sam Johnson out. So they've just not been as, since Dean Garner come out the side, they just don't seem quite as prolific.
Pereira's corner in towards that near post area, headed away by Klukas. They were 12 points clear on Boxing Day of 3rd place West Bromwich Albion. If they lose tonight, it will be 5, which is still a healthy deficit, but scoreboard pressure can do funny things to the mind.
Yeah, well, when the team below you have lost to QPR, you want to go and really drive it home, because they'll be watching tonight. I don't care if managers say they are or aren't. Players watch. I remember when we were involved in things like that, so we're always watching what the other teams are doing. And so West Brom will be there. Even if they can just get a point tonight, that would be big for them now in the context of the game.
And of course there'll be fans, players, officials from Fulham and Brentford thinking, God, Stoke City, they wouldn't have anticipated this.
No, you wouldn't, and that's the thing. So when you the teams that you're riding against, but you drop points against teams that you don't really will, it's a real bonus. But on the flip side, if you're down there at the bottom of the league, a lot of teams would have thought that Stoke City would drop points tonight. So if they come away something, that's a real blow to Barnsley and all those other teams who are saying, Luton, for example.
Now Bartley with a high ball to this near side, and Pereira will try and fire in the cross. It's very tight to the touchline on this near side, but he's such a good player in that sort of area, and he's caught by Smith, and it's a free kick to West Brom, which is better than a corner, down the left-hand side with 10 minutes to play.
I'd like to see that back. I think he's bought that. I think he's done a little stop on the ball and then made out like Smith has taken his legs away. You can see the frustration there, but yet again, another free kick, and I felt that Jack Butland really dealt well with the other one, whipped in by Brunt. This will be out swinging now with it being out on the West Bromwich Albion left, and really Stoke City will have to defend this like a corner all in all.
Chris Brunt will take it. Every outfield player inside the Stoke City half. And it's Brunt with the outswinger, high to the 6-yard area, nodded clear well by Gregory, wide to the far side. Pereira will keep the ball in play down the right, and he will saunter towards the byline. Now chops back onto the left foot, but the cross is straight into the arms of Butland, who gathers it and then in exaggerated fashion falls to the turf.
Yeah, every goalkeeper does that, and that's what makes me laugh. I don't remember if you saw Kyle Walker go in goal, and he did the exaggerated fall, but he did it a good 2 or 3 seconds too late.
You always instalments.
Yeah, he went down in 3-month instalments, but you always do it to run the clock down. But again, you could see Stoke first contact on the ball coming in. Gregory at this time headed it, but then what did Stoke do? They got up and they squeezed quickly and they stayed picked up in the zones. So really, really good. And then the cross from deep and good take from Jack Butland.
It was a high boot there from Klukas on Austin, but in fairness to Austin, he didn't complain, and the referee allowed play to continue. And now Austin has been flattened by Allen. Allen has already been booked in the game, and he very quickly gets himself out of there.
He is walking a tightrope, because I felt the other foul was just a normal one, but persistent foul he can get a second yellow for, and there, tell you what, his heart would have been in his mouth for a minute there.
It was one of those, had he not already been booked, he could have received the yellow card. Now a long ball forward again for West Brom. Goes out on the far side for a corner. And we have 8 minutes to play. Stoke City leading by a 1-0, and they have led for so long in this game, since the 10th minute on TalkSport 2. And this would be a shock result in the Championship, where there have been so many in recent times, and it would just tighten things up at the top and also move Stoke City clear of the bottom 3. These are big moments in the season for both teams. Brunt will take the corner, and this time it will be an in-swinger. Austin lurking with intent around the centre circle. Pereira is out on the edge of the box, and Stoke have everybody back once again. Brunt's curler high to the far post. It was Ghazi challenging for it with Bart. Bart got the final touch. It's another corner, but Stoke are furious with that.
Yeah, they're furious, but Danny Bart again stuck to his task, man for man, made sure that Ghazi couldn't get a clear head on it. I thought it was a goal kick. We saw it, didn't we, in the game Manchester United-Liverpool. You've got to match your men up, and Danny Bart said, Ghazi, I'll have a bit of you. It's a one-on-one battle there, really, really good.
And Brum will take the corner once again on this near side. It's drifted in, Butland should claim, and he does. Far too much air on that.
Yeah, too much air, and you can see Bartley and Ghazi just having a little Chris Brunt, and he's put his hand up because he's got every other ball had been right on the money, hadn't it? Whipped into dangerous areas, go and attack it, real quality, but too much air on it, floated. You said before in commentary, he's 6'5", 6'6", Jack Butland. Cherries, as they say, as that comes in for goalkeepers, and again booms it right up the pitch.
Headed away by Ghazi from the goal kick. Now Sawyers wide towards Pereira on this near side. 6 minutes to play at the Hawthorns. West Brom 0, Stoke 1 on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. And TalkSport will be focusing on the FA Cup this weekend, the 4th round. And there will be 3 commentaries on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and also 1 on Monday as well. And Shrewsbury against Liverpool, 5 o'clock on Sunday, will be live and exclusive to national radio only on TalkSport. Now Ghazi on this near side, and his inclusion will make headlines, certainly in the Black Country. But Phillips with an excellent ball forward. Bartley charging forward down the right. The cross into the area is scraped away by Bart inside the 6-yard box, further clear by Klukas. But here is Livermore now, wide towards Bartley again. Phillips straining to get back onside down the right, and there's a chance for Furlong to go down inside the area as he's challenged by McLean, but there was absolutely no way there was any sort of contact, and it's a goal kick.
Really, really good defending again. And when you work as in training, when you're either a player or a coach, you do phases, defence versus attack, and all about getting in the right areas, body positions, distances. And Tommy Smith there has just filled in at the back post brilliantly to get the clearance. Other times it's been Bart, it's been Lindsay, and that is work on the training ground, doing it. Players then have to execute and show desire. But I tell you what, that has been a textbook defensive display.
And the Stoke fans in great voice away to our right-hand side at the moment. There have been so many grim away days so far this season. 9 defeats on the road, but this would be the biggest win so far by some distance. Nathan Collins, a young Irish under-19 international, is about to come on, and it's Tom Ince who comes off. And Ince is milking the moment, and you can't really blame him in the 86th minute.
No, and he's going to have to walk off and he take his time, but he has been really, really good tonight. As you say, played the moment in the goal, played his part, really big part, getting the assist for the goal. But the way he's trapped back, the way he's worked, that probably not renowned for that part of his game, but I think every single one of the Stoke City players in and out of possession has been really, really good.
And the West Brom fans are leaving in their droves. 3.5 minutes to play. Stoke lead by a goal to nil, and they have a free kick now over on the far side by the corner flag. A challenge on Klukas, and this an opportunity to just wind down the clock.
Yeah, there'll be no rush to deliver this, and maybe they'll run it into the corner. They might think, oh, can we go and nick one? But the fact that Danny Bart's staying back, Collins is staying back, Lindsay's staying back, shows you that one, there'll be no rush, and I'm sure they won't even put the ball in the box. They'll just want to take as long as they can. And look at that. When do you see a free kick in a position like that and not one offensive? Oh, Danny Bart's going to go and attack it now.
Wasn't a single black shirt inside the area. They play the free kick short towards the corner flag, and in the end, as so often happens, it's run out of play and the opposition have a throw-in. Bartley now inside the 6-yard area will try and get West Bromwich Albion moving. Higazi was urged to play it forward, but in the end he goes back towards Bartlett. Higazi brought into the side ahead of Semi Ajayi. His mistake at the moment may have cost West Bromwich Albion the only goal in this game. 2.5 minutes to play. Smith was caught late there by Austin, but Stoke are happy to play on. Gregory goes down, and the referee had a long think about the challenge from Higazi on Gregory, and in the end he has given Stoke a free kick, and Klukas has gone down injured.
Yeah, they're breaking up the play, so that's fantastic from Gregory. It would be disappointing not to have started as a 20-year-old starting ahead of year, but he's come into the game, he's should have scored, but apart from that he's been really, really good, and he's won the free kick there again to slow the play down. Klukas probably a tactical one there, took a little knock I think on his foot, but again slowing it down. But Stoke now have gone to a back 5 with the 4 in front. Gregory isolated on his own, wins that free kick, and the Stoke fans, this hasn't been like a performance where you're going, oh brilliant, like they did away at Huddersfield, scoring 5 away at Barnsley when I was there then, and they loved those days out. But this has been another sort, and we know as football people, you love seeing your side do this, don't you? Organised, battling, battling, fighting and showing and playing real pride and desire for the shirt. So it has been a very, very good away performance so far.
There have been too many Stoke players over the last couple of years who have been on big money and not shown any pride in the shirt. And tonight everybody has done that. Michael O'Neill has turned around the dressing room. That's been his biggest achievement so far.
Yeah, and if you were going to look at an identity of a side, that's what you would say with Stoke. And I don't want to offend them by saying that, but you would say that they would be. I remember going to the Britannia Stadium thinking, there'll be long throws and the box balls in and teams working hard and pressing, and they've done that tonight.
Into the 90th minute, the Stoke fans going through their full repertoire of songs. Away to our right, the West Bromwich Albion fans, most of them are in the car park already.
With the heaters on.
Absolutely. They're not hanging around, and really they have had very little to cheer. They're a team who have offered so much entertainment so far this season, but tonight they have been very poor. Jack Butland has not really had a difficult shot to save.
And he's dealt with a few aerial balls well, but I think everybody in this Stoke team has done the ugly bit of the game, if you like. They've just been there, they've done it, they're being organised, but they've still got a few minutes to see out yet.
5 minutes of added time. Stoke lead by a goal to nil. A cross delivered high into the penalty area from Furlong, nodded down towards goal. The bodies go tumbling. Austin was in there, hodded back towards goal by Zohore, and in the end it is hooked away. And there was just a bit of a scramble there inside the Stoke box for the first time this evening.
It was, but they are inviting pressure, aren't they? And that's why Klukas there has decided to release and press a little. But this Stoke City side are very, very deep. They're sitting in, and he doesn't need to do that, Smith. The ball comes up. He would back Smith to beat Pereira with a header. He puts both hands on him, pushes him down. Now gets a yellow card. It's going to be another free kick. And if they concede from this, Michael O'Neill will be absolutely fuming.
Yellow card for Tommy Smith as well. Free kick for West Brom as we tick into the 92nd minute. 1-0 Stoke City lead. They have led now for over 80 minutes in this game. But it's a free kick which Brunt will flight low into the penalty area. Poor delivery. Headed away by Smith. Brunt now with the second ball. Higher this time towards the far post. Furlong rising. And in the end, Higazi has kept the ball in play by the corner flag on the far side. And he delivers a high cross into the area. Butland is there. And he juggles and gathers at the second attempt. And I think he was fouled anyway.
Yeah, but it was a really good take, because how Higazi kept that in play was phenomenal. Then to dig across into a dangerous area, out swinging. Butland, knowing that he's taking pressure, because there wasn't that much pace on it, he wouldn't have been able to punch it to a safe area. Came, took it under pressure. And this sort of performance is the sort of performance that's going to get Jack Butland back to the levels that he should be.
Now McLean on this near side makes a beeline for the corner flag, challenged by Brunt, former teammates of course, and now Pereira with a long hanging ball forward, chested off though by Bart, who has been the man of the match I think, and he plays a good ball forward. Gregory will chase, but Johnston will shepherd the ball behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, Danny Bart, I think him and Liam Lindsay together have been really, really good. And a rolling ball there.
Johnston has been penalised for a rolling ball as he takes a goal kick, and that will just wind down even more time.
Yeah, wind down even more time. But I agree, Danny Bart, I think, deserves, as long as they see this game out, man of the match.
Bartley now with a long ball forward again. Higazi playing as a centre forward now. Clipped in field by Furlong. Livermore's cross into the area. Bart is there again to head the ball away. Livermore again finding Furlong down the right. Furlong's delivery into the penalty area was deflected. Bart is there to nod the ball away at the near post this time. Volley back in by Livermore, looking for Livermore, and guess who's there again? Danny Bart to dive in and head the ball clear.
He's got a magnet in that head. When we used to do defending drills like that with Mick McCarthy, we used to call it Rambo defending. Just get your body on the line, head it, clear it, and Danny Bart loved it.
Now it's worked wide towards Phillips for West Brom. A high cross into the area. Butland has flapped at it twice, and Butland eventually comes through the crowd. You can hear the cheer from the Stoke fans at the other end, celebrating that like a goal as Butland flops on it 15 yards out.
Again, fantastic goalkeeping. Like outfield players, when you're in goal, you need to know what the picture is in the middle. And he knew he just had to get there and get anything on it, stretching for it. And then he kept going all the way, and you could see the desire. He wanted to play his part. He wants to preserve that clean sheet. Fantastic goalkeeping there from Jack Butland.
And we welcome listeners to Talk Sport as Gregory tries to break into the penalty area. And in the end, West Brom will clear. Stoke leading here by a goal to nil with just over a minute of added time to play. So West Brom will not be extending their lead at the top of the table as it stands, but Stoke will be moving 4 points clear of the relegation zone as Sawyers plays it wide to the far side. An opportunity for Furlong to work it high into the penalty area. Brunt tries to nod it down. Higazi is there, but it's volley cleared by Cousins. Now Phillips finding Livermore again, and it's Lindsay this time to the rescue by hoofing it up to the halfway line. Sawyers finding Furlong again. West Brom about to record a very rare blank at home in the Championship, and this will be only Stoke's fourth away victory. Brunt with a high cross into the penalty area. Lindsay clears. Pereira with the volley, slashed at it left-footed, and it's high over the top. And Matt Murray, Stoke City look as though they've done enough.
Yeah, and they deserve it because they've showed desire. How many times the ball's gone in the box and it's been a first contact from Danny Bart, Liam Lindsay, Smith took him round, Martin Zindi, and look, they deserve that. Listen to the boos, but Stoke City have been absolutely fantastic, and what a clean sheet for them.
And that is it. What a win for Stoke City. Their fans celebrate. They are 4 points clear of the relegation zone, and West Bromwich Albion have failed to make an impression at the top yet again. 6 games without a win, and both West Brom and Leeds have lost this weekend, and the chasing pack are beginning to reel them in at the top of the Championship. Full time at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion 0, Stoke City 1.